Dornbush download 195. Andrew, Dan, good morning.
How you doing?
Good afternoon, good evening. What are we talking about today, Dan? Probably the most pressing thing relates to big changes occurring with E-Trade.
Yes. Share Investing Limited, ain't it? Come on.
E-Trade for those playing at home. On Friday. So Friday is the last day of Share Investing Australia or Share Investing Limited, and as of Monday that entire business is transitioning to CMC Markets. So CMC is a listed UK stockbroker, and as of Monday they'll be the second largest retail stockbroker in Australia after CommSec. So wow. Bear in mind we've been with E-Trade, I call them E-Trade, they've been E-Trade forever. We've been with E-Trade for 14 years, so it's a pretty big step for us. And as a client you would have been getting tons and tons and tons and tons of paperwork, which we're just loving, and Australia Post is loving us. But unfortunately we've got to post it to you, we're sorry.
Loving your bank account.
Loving my bank account. So there's one more mail out that the team's madly working on. And this is the important one, because in this one is what they call a consent code. Again, we have to mail it to you. We can't email it to you. That'd be too sort of 2000-ish. We have to revert back to the 70s and actually post you something. And in there is a 6-digit consent code. So when you get your letter, there'll be a website to go to, your unique account number and a consent code. If you can please type in those details, because basically if you don't do that within a given period of time, we're still trying to work out what that given period of time is. I mean, it won't be immediately, but somewhere between 3 and 6 months, then your account will be sent issuer sponsored. And we don't want that. We want you to stay in the Dornbush family. So when you get your letter, log into the website, and before you do your first trade with us under CMC, we need to have that code in there, please. So your advisors and the support staff will help you with that, but really important that when you get that mail, have a look at it, fill out the form. Have a look at the letter. But the form, you want to talk about the form?
The form, for those people that don't want to use the internet, there is a form included, so you'll have to put the consent code in the form, I guess, sign the form and send it back either to CMC or to us. So if you'd like to send it to us, we can then put it in the system and get it off to CMC.
So again, more so for people, as Dan's saying, who are either uncomfortable using the internet or, you know, with all due respect to our more mature clients, that, you know, it's probably not the type of thing they're into, but whereas us youngies, if I can put it that way, just even on your phone or something like that, it'll take you 2 seconds to do.
So talking about the phone, you know, hopefully eventually we'll get an app from CMC so the clients can look at their portfolios on the phone.
Which would be awesome. So certainly CMC is probably the big thing happening in our world. Now, Dan, I see you've got a piece of paper there in front of you. You want to talk about
you were going to talk about your trip to the US and
but Lindsay's
ETFs
looking at a clock. We've spoken too much on, we'll have to make maybe Dornbush download 196. About my US
just
trip.
A quickie though. Yeah, well, fair enough. I've just printed out VanX Exchange Traded Fund, code MVB, which is their banking ETF. Just got 7 holdings, the big 4, Macquarie, Bendigo and Bank of Queensland. So it's really just bank focused.
Concentrated, yep.
And going against the flow, I'm probably a bit of a believer that banks are buying here.
Well, they certainly seem to have bottomed, and if you have a look at, you know,
last few days,
some of the fundies who were overweight BHP and Rio, etc., and they've had a pretty good run, are now crystallising those gains and putting those into the bank. So like you're saying, you can either try and pick the 7, or you can buy a product like that VanX one, where in essence they've done it all for you. What's the yield on it?
The yield, as per all the banks, is very low in the last 12 months. The 3-year yield was the best out of the 3 ETFs, and they don't have a 5-year yield.
Okay, but it's certain the banks are more attractive. So again, based on the US stuff, which we'll talk about next week, there's certainly a big shift towards ETFs. So a product like that might be one worth thinking about. So Lindsay's about to pull the power cord on us.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Till next week.
Bye.